So trace tables. Trace tables are a way of following an algorithm through by hand. So you're basically demonstrating any effects it has on data and variables as you go through. So what we've got on the left, just put my tools up. What we've got on the left is we've got an algorithm here. So it doesn't matter what the algorithm does, we should be able to follow it through and trace it by hand. The reason being, um, in your exam, you might get some algorithms that you've got to trace which don't make any true logical sense why that algorithm would exist. Right, like so the one we've got here is quite simple, but it's quite a random algorithm. But don't worry about that. It doesn't matter what the algorithm is, you should be able to follow it through and pretend essentially that you're the computer and you act out whatever the algorithm would do. On the right hand side, I've got a table that I'm going to fill in, and you can see the top I've got number, I, and output, which are my three variables. Well, I've got two variables, number and I, and output would be every time the print is called. Okay, so, sorry. So that's for me checking at the end. So what we've got here, I'm going to use my pen. So we've got number equals 3. Okay, so that's line number 1. Then it says line number 2 and it says print number. Well, print is an output, so I would output 3. Okay. Now you can see I've skipped this cell here. All right. So because I asked me to change number, I had to do that cell. Then I had to do this cell over here. And then you can see the next line, it says for I from 1 to 3. So my next thing is I is going to equal 1 here. Now, the reason it's here is because it works left to right like reading a book. But what's happened is I've filled in this cell and then I've skipped to fill in this cell. So this cell will never get filled in. If you move past the cell, you don't fill it in. So like, for example, the next one I'm going to change is I. So I'm going to go to the next line. I'm going to skip this cell and fill in this one. So this cell, like this one, will stay empty. And that's how you fill in a trace table. And that's probably one of the most common mistakes. People understand the algorithm, but they don't understand how to fill in the table. So if I got my pen back up. So I equals 1. Then on line number 4, it says number, which is my left-hand column, number equals number plus 5. Well, 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay. And then print number, which is my output, 8. And then what would happen here is I've just done this line. Because it's inside a for loop, the for loop isn't fully done yet. So I go back up here. And I was 1, so I is now going to become 2. Okay, so I'll write 2 there. Then line 4 again, number equals number plus 5, so 8 plus 5 is 13. Then print number, 13. Go back to line number 3 because the loop's still not done, and the loop becomes 3. Then again, number equals number plus 5, or 13 plus 5 is 18. Print number, 18. And then now what happens here is, because the for loop was 4, 1, 2, 3, I've done that. So now I exit the for loop and I do line number 6. So it says print question mark. So my output will be question mark. Okay. Now it's a random little trace table. That's exactly how you fill the trace table out. And just to show you it works, if I skip to the next slide, underneath, you should see all the numbers exactly match what the actual answer was. Okay, so trace tables aren't hard to fill out. You've just got to try and think like a computer and remember the rule about if you skip past a cell, then you don't ever go back. All right, and it's basically a trace table is usually just all your different variables in your algorithm and an output. All right.